Hey guys, Jonathan here. Well, I was able to see Guardians Volume 3 one night early thanks to Marvel for helping line that up. But I do want to talk about my thoughts on the movie and if the Lego sets we got for the movie were actually accurate in the end. So this first part of the video will be no spoilers. So my thought going into the movie was every trilogy we've gotten so far for characters, we've gone in kind of knowing if it was going to be the end or not. In fact, all of them up to this point we knew there could be more. Like, after Iron Man 3, we know he's going to show up in another Avengers movie. After Captain America Civil War, we know he's going to show up in Infinity War. After Spider-Man No Way Home, we know he's going to show up again someday, and so on and so on. But with the Guardians, the entire marketing for the movie was telling us that this is the end of the Guardians as we know it, so I think it honestly had more pressure on it to deliver, and I do think it does deliver, but I want to get into that. Overwhelmingly, yes, I did enjoy the movie, but it doesn't land with me the way that the first two movies did when I walked out of the theater for those. The magic of the first Guardians of the Galaxy is honestly impossible to recapture. If you were a Marvel fan at the time, you know what I'm talking about. We basically went into that movie watching it because it's a Marvel movie and they've all been pretty good so far, so let's give this one a chance, and then everybody ended up loving the Guardians after that. The second one really delivered because it took all the things we loved in the first one and just kept building on them, doing world building, and getting us ready for the cosmic side of the MCU going forward. This movie doesn't necessarily world build in a way of like, oh, it's gonna set up the rest of Phase 5, or oh, it's got Easter eggs for this and that. It's a very contained Guardian story, even if it's a pretty big story. So those are some things I really liked about it. And another thing, oh my gosh, if you guys are going to see this movie, see it in IMAX. It was amazing in IMAX. Or if you could see it in Dolby or just the biggest screen possible, this is a visually beautiful movie. And I'm going to go ahead and say I think it's the best visuals of all three Guardians. So yeah, I really liked it, but it's not without its faults, so let's talk about those and then talk if the Lego sets were accurate. So this movie is so dark. It's very dark, and that's not necessarily a bad thing, but it really stands out from the other two Guardians because it deals with a lot of dark themes, and I'm trying to stay out of spoilers, but I'm gonna get into them here in just a minute. So basically, what I was thinking as I'm watching this movie is because it deals with so much body horror, Cronenberg type stuff, like, again, I'm trying to stay out of spoilers. If I had like a hypothetical 9-year-old kid, I don't know if we'd be seeing this movie in theaters or not. Now, there are going to be people out there that absolutely love that element because it's something so different for the MCU. I'm just saying that I don't know that this is like the family-friendly movie that the first two Guardians were. Yes, I know that there was always violence and swearing in those. I'm just saying the stuff in this movie is really dark. But there's an element of that that actually plays to the movie's strengths. You know, it really helps give a lot of backstory for Rocket. It really ties up Star-Lord's story pretty well, and from here on out, I'm going to get into spoilers, so if you are avoiding spoilers, now's the time to cut out. Rocket's backstory is absolutely heartbreaking in this. I found myself, really just emotional gut punch as soon as we get into the movie because it opens with Creep by Radiohead, the acoustic version, and you know, it's a song I've been familiar with for a long time, and it just kind of sets you up for where we're going in this story and where we're going with Rocket. It just kind of hurts your soul, but it makes you look back at the previous movies and kind of understand where Rocket's coming from a lot more, you know, why he was a little bit angry and quick to fight in the first one, and why he values family so much in every movie from the first Guardians onward. I do have to say, I thought that they were going to kill somebody in this movie, and they certainly didn't do that. So, you know, I think that there are going to be people that really like that because it leaves the door open for any of them to come back someday. Yeah, I know Batista and Zoe Saldana said they're done, but, you know, the door's open. Both characters exist somewhere out there. But would the movie have carried more impact had somebody died? Honestly, yeah, I think it would have, and I think that that's going to be a big talking point for people after having seen this movie is, you know, should they have killed a character off? Personally, I think they should have, but I'm not really sure who that should have been. You know, we got a couple fake-out deaths. Like, it seemed like Drax was going to get shot and killed when they were, like, in that white room fighting Nathan Fillion and all his soldiers. Star-Lord out in space with his face bloating out. It kind of seemed like they were going to kill him there. And, of course, throughout the whole movie, you know, it felt like Rocket could have died at any point. So, you know, I don't know. It feels like they certainly could have killed off a character at any point. So to wrap up the review section of this, I really enjoyed the movie. I think that it's the shot in the arm that Marvel needed right now. You know, Thor 4 has not aged very well. I came out of Thor 4 kind of liking it, but the more I've sat with it, it's just, ugh. Love and Thunder was not great. Quantumania, I mean, obviously that's had a lot of people talking, saying it wasn't great. Some people even saying it was terrible. But regardless, we're here to talk about Guardians. I think this is the shot in the arm that Marvel needed right now, and I think people are really going to love it, even though, again, it is kind of an emotional gut punch. So now let's talk about the Lego sets and see how accurate these sets were. So up first, we have the Guardians of the Galaxy headquarters. So this set is the $10 set, and it came with Groot and Star-Lord. And honestly, this is pretty accurate. Even the Guardians of the Galaxy sign sticker that's in this is actually in the movie. So, you know, it's a $10 set. You're either going to buy this or you're not, but I do really love the way that this held up in the movie, and I'm actually pretty happy with how it translated onto screen. Now, for me, the biggest letdown set of the movie is Baby Rocket's ship. Now, Baby Rocket's ship is a very cool build. It actually ended up being pretty accurate to what we saw in the film, but, you know, considering we didn't get Cosmo or the High Evolutionary or anything in this movie, this kind of feels like a wasted set. You know, we could have gotten, like, the High Evolutionary's room versus all the Guardians, or his, like, command center or something like that. I just don't know if this was the best set to make, but you know, I'm not a Lego designer, so I'm not really sure what the next best idea was. It's just crazy to me that 2 out of the 3 Guardians movies didn't even give us the villain in any Lego set. So this set is probably the weakest of the wave to me when it's all said and done, especially because we only see this on screen for like all of 5 seconds. But the biggest set of the movie to talk about is the Bowie, the Guardian's new ship, and I like this set a lot more after having seen the movie. I literally cannot believe that these little side pods are actually flyers in the movie. You know, in the Lego set, you're able to put the minifig in there, and in the movie, it's actually like a big, almost Ravager-sized ship, but it is very cool that Lego included that. The one big issue for me is that the Bowie, as it sits here, is not even close to at scale with what we see in the movie. You know, there's like a giant room inside here where all the Guardians are, and I know that none of the Guardians ships have been particularly close to scale, but this one really feels lacking. I would have gladly, you know, had this be 50 or 60, 70 more dollars. Yes, I know that would make it the most expensive Guardian ship ever, but to be able to have these O-rings in the back move, they're stable on this set, they're kind of stuck in place, but in the movie they move, and to have more room on the inside, I would have really liked that. Now, there's an entire possibility that down the line we could get a bigger and better one, but we have to remember too that this movie is not part of the Infinity Saga, which is Lego's umbrella where they're going back and revisiting old movies. So the fact that we don't have this, you know, to go back and revisit, it may be a long time before we get an opportunity for Lego to make a bigger or better version of the Bowie. So I'll be curious to see if any mock builders out there go ahead and try their hand at it. But that's going to bring us to a close. Let me know what you think of Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3. I'd love to hear it down in the comments, and check out my reviews on all these sets. I went into a lot more depth than I did here, and yeah, I'd love to hear what you guys think. Showcase coming up on Sunday where I show you how to build all the figures, so if you haven't hit like and subscribe already, now's the time to do it, and I will catch you guys next time. Well, you made it to the end of the video. Thanks for hanging out with me today, and don't forget to hit like and subscribe, and maybe check out one of my other videos listed here.